Good morning, children. What is national development? That is what we are going to discuss today. So, in order to make our country, India, what should be done for development? Okay, our country should be developed. What can we do? What is development for our country? Most likely, you would like to find that different students in the class have given different answers about this question. Okay, what can be done for the developing of our country? So it's very important to keep in mind that different persons have different as well as conflicting notions of a country's development. We discussed this matter. Always remember that different persons have different aspects of developmental goals. Can we all have the ideas considered equally important? Everybody's ideas are equally important or not? So here, or if there are conflicts, how does one decide? If there are conflicts between two people or disputes between two people, how do you or how do they settle their issues? Okay, what would be a fair and just path for all? So here we know many people have different attitudes or aspirations of developmental goals. So then how the government can settle these issues? If government is planning to construct a dam and when people are opposing, many people are supporting also, then how government takes a decision? So all this we will study in the coming class. Okay, so all we have to think whether there is a better way of doing things. Would the idea benefit a large number of people or only a small group? National development means thinking about all these questions only. See here, when we think that majority's opinion is taken here, if a minority is affected and majority is getting benefit from these developmental activities, government will go with the majority only. Okay, suppose there are large number of people are benefited with the construction of dam and only few people are affected. What the government does, the government takes support the majority of the people and evacuate the minority, and minority will be shifted from there and they will be given other regions for living, and they will be evacuated from these regions and they will be given place in other regions. So here also, if development can mean different things, how come some countries are generally called developed countries? If these are the different aspects of the people, how some of the countries become developed and some countries we can call as underdeveloped, how it becomes, how these countries are developing them? Okay, so when many people are opposing the developmental goals, how countries can be developed? When we compare different things, they could have similarities as well as differences also. Which aspects do we use to compare them? Let's look at the students in the class itself. Some examples. Okay, how do we compare the students? They may be different in their height or health, etc. One person, one student who is very healthy, he may not be good at studies. May not be the studious one in the class. Okay, so one is healthy, he may not be good at studies. So one is good at studies, may not be good at sports. One is good at drawing, but the other one is good at music. They may not be good at studies also. So here children, and one may be very healthy, one may be very too high, okay, very short persons, but he may be very good at studies also. So different criteria then we take. How a teacher compares the children who is good in everything. So many criteria then teachers have to find out his way of discipline, his manners and his studies, how much good he is in sports and games. All these criteria, some may have, some may be very good at studies, but his handwriting may be very bad, and he may not be regular to school also. So these all aspects we have to compare. Then only these are the criteria we have to follow to take a decision before taking. So the government also takes such kind of decisions in case of developmental goals. Usually we take one or more important characteristics of persons to compare them based on these characteristics. So not only one criteria about studies, about sports and other qualities, other talents also will be compared and for a child. Of course, there can be differences about what are important characteristics that should form the basis of comparison. So friendliness and the spirit of cooperation, how these children, how this person, how this student is friendly with other people, mingling with other people, and his spirit of cooperation, cooperating with others, creativity or marks secured. All these criteria will be considered. How much mark he is secured in the examination, how much participation he has in the sports or other activities conducted in the school, etc. So this is a true development too. For comparing countries, their income is considered to be one of the most important attributes. We know that when we compare the countries, one is much developed, one is less developed, and one is medium developed. So in these cases, in the case of countries, income of the country is important. That is calculated here. Countries with a higher income are more developed countries like America or the many European countries. We say they are developed nations. How they are developed? Their income of these countries are very high, and others with less income, which countries have less income, are considered underdeveloped. So this is based on the understanding that more income means more all the things that human beings need. So we have many requirements. When we have good income, we can fulfill our requirements. We can buy all the material things with the money which we earn. Whatever the people like and should have, they will be able to get with the greater income. For a rural labor, he has less income, only food and necessary essential items he can buy. If we have in a rich family, we are in a rich family or a rich person, he can afford many things, all the comfortable things for making his life comfortable, all the materials he can purchase. Okay, here, so greater income itself is considered to be one of the important goal for any developed nation. The greater income is important. Now, what is the income of a country? So the income of the country is the income of all the people, all residents of the country, all people who are living in a country, their income is considered the national income or the income of the country. So total income of the country is the income of the country. Okay. However, for the comparison between the different countries, the total income is not such a useful measure, but since the countries have different populations, comparing total income will not tell us what an average person is like to earn. So here some countries have a large population, so some countries have less population. So here population also is an important factor. Are people in one country better off than other country? Hence we compare the average income. So we need to find out the average income. Okay, in order to find out the developmental goals a country is developed, we need to find out the average income. What is average income? The total income of the country divided by its total population. We already studied that there are different populations in different nations. India is the second largest populated country in the world. China is the largest populated country. So the income of each person, every person is calculated. Okay, every person's income is calculated and it is divided by the total population. Okay, the average income is also called per capita income. Average income is also called the per capita income. How we are calculating this income? The total number of persons or population is calculated and every person's income is calculated together and divided with the total population. So in World Development Reports brought out by the World Bank. World Bank says what are the criteria they are using for a calculation of income. how the country is developed, what criteria is used for the developed nations and underdeveloped nations. As per that, United Nations also calculates what is the per capita income and the average income of any country. Now here we can find how these, what are the criteria they are using for the development reports. Okay, so here countries with per capita income of US dollar, American dollar, 12,056 per annum, US dollar 12,056 per year, and this is in 2017 was calculated 12,056 dollars if and that is the income of a person, income of a person in a country, okay, are called the rich countries. Okay, that is the per capita income of the rich countries, 12,056 dollars US dollar, and less than that we can find 955 or less US dollar. Which are the countries have 956 or less dollars? They are coming under low income countries. They are the underdeveloped or the low income or the middle income countries. Okay, so as per the per capita income 2017 was just India's income. Also we can find 1820, that is 1820 per annum was the income of India. That means India comes between, in between, not developed and not well developed, not underdeveloped. In the middle income group India comes. Okay, see once again what is the developed development for as per the criteria. Those countries, their per capita income is 12,056 US dollar per year. Okay, that is the that is the income of people in the developed countries. Under 955 or less than that is US dollar. If it is the income of any nation, they are less developed. India's income as per 2017 was 1,820 US dollars. That means India comes in a between. So some countries are in the Middle Eastern countries, there are, and some of the European countries are well developed nations. They are all developed countries.